What's up? Steven here from Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. So as I said in my last tutorial video I did on how to process the moon, I am going to be showing you here now how to do the final processing work to get your final image using Photoshop. To begin with, I gotta say, I love Photoshop. It is just an amazing program, and I've been using this program for years, and it's just, you're always learning stuff, and the stuff it can do is just mind-blowing. It's a great program, and like all of our processing work, it can actually all be done through Photoshop. It's not as effective, that's why I use the other software. But alright, so to begin with, I'm using the same data that I'd collected in my previous video, which was all shot with a DSLR camera and a 600mm prime, or a telephoto lens, sorry, zoom lens. And when you do actually attach a video camera, a dedicated astro video camera to a telescope, you get a way better effect. You get more like a sharper image, less noise, and the data, when you go to start processing it, it pops out at you. So most of my images I am using the dedicated stuff, and I can bring it up here. This was done with my dedicated camera, and you get way better results. Like, let's go full screen here. So just do a quick sharpening on this. So filter, sharpen, unsharp mask. Sure, we'll go with that. Filter, sharpen, smart sharpen. And like you can already see, this is just popping out at a guy, right? And we'll do a soft light high pass. Bring it down a bit. There we go. So yeah, it's like really simple to go overboard with this stuff. You gotta be very tedious with it, and like this is just totally overprocessed in those few simple steps. And actually all those steps is what I'm going to be using on the other image, and you got to be a little bit more rambunctious, I guess you can say, with the sharpening tools on your SLR images compared to a video image. It's just very tedious, and it's pretty much sharpened when you get it right out of the camera. Like step back here. So yeah, this is straight out of the camera, and it looks pretty damn good if you ask me. So, but not everybody has that fancy equipment, which is why I'm doing this, and we are using nothing but our basic equipment still, our SLR image that's been stacked and done with the camera and whatnot. So to begin with, we're going to duplicate our layer with Command J. I'm sure it popped up on the screen there. And that way we always can go back. This one is going to stay in our pocket. It's our original. Don't want to fuck with it at all. So, and most of the time when I do processing on the moon, I have a workflow that just works for me, and here it is. Filter, sharpen, unsharp mask. And we will move it over to a contrast area. We can also zoom in on the image. And like I said before, less is more when it comes to processing. We're going to be going through like 3 different sharpening steps here, so you don't want to do the unsharp mask right away and just sharpen it till it's as good as you want it right there, right? You want to bring it up to where you would like it. That is way too bloody much. It's a little bit slow here with this bloody screen recording slowing down the system. So yeah, this is pretty much where I'd want it, but I'm going to bring it back down a few points. So you keep your amount as high as possible. There, now it's as high as possible. And then you just bring up your radius, keep your threshold down. And I'm going to go with that. Okay. And then we go filter, sharpen, smart sharpen. And some people, they'll do the same thing like we did with the unsharp mask. They'll crank it right up, your amount right up to the top, and then slowly bring in your radius. I'm not too crazy about that. I'd rather just toy with the two different sliders and bring the percentage amount down, and then the radius. Just work it into it. And then we can always do a preview. And when you uncheck the preview, it turns your full image over here into, so it doesn't have a preview, and when you check it again, it'll show up sharp again. Yeah, very subtle. I like it. That's all you want. It's just little subtle enhancements. And then what comes after the smart sharpen? Oh yeah. Duplicate the layer. Change your top layer to soft light. And then we go filter, other, high pass. And then this setting or this adjustment here is just going to make the image kind of pop out at you and show off the dark and bright regions. And man, this is like really slow. Okay, this might not be the greatest because I'm not having patience with this shit loading like this. Alright, we'll go with that. So yeah, this is with the high pass. Let that finish. And that's without. So high pass sharpening, it makes it pop out, and it also sharpens as well. There is a disadvantage to it though, is the high pass introduces more noise into your image, and we'll deal with that later. Noise is always the final thing that you want to deal with, because every sharpening thing you do, every color adjustment you do, it's going to introduce noise. So that's why you always want noise removal as your final step. So we'll go with that and just merge it down. Bring it back a bit. So now right along here where the shadow line is, it's called the terminator. A lot of people, they just go with this and say, there you go, well, deal with the noise, and then that's about it. But what I like to do is get rid of this shadow and make it a very sharp line, because when we actually look at the moon, our eyes can see more of a dynamic range, and we really don't see the shadow. Our eyes compensate for it, and you get a nice sharp line along the moon. So in order to do this, I will duplicate my layer, do a curves adjustment, and just bring up the line by one of these squares here. So just straight up right in the middle. And then go OK. And if you hold Option and click your mask icon, it's going to mask it out. And then we're going to take our brush, a white brush obviously, and do a 30-30 setting of opacity and flow. And then bring up the brush size a bit. We're going to try to bring back this shadow. Or not bring back the shadow, get rid of the shadow. And just do a few light brushes along the terminator there. And while we're at it, we can even try to brighten up these darker regions if you want, just by brushing on them. Actually, I don't think I'm going to do that. I'd rather them dark. It gives that contrast to the different types of soil on the moon. Although the moon is mainly glass. That's why it's so shiny. And then we can go into our properties for our mask here and just give it a little bit of a feather so it blends in nicely. And so see, there you have it. We've already brought back part of the shadow, but we're not done yet. So now I want to take this image, pretty much flatten it out and do another layer. Quick little tip for this is Command Option Shift E, and it's going to give me a picture, a new layer with what I'm seeing already. So if I were to turn off all this, it's not going to change anything. This is what all this makes up. So layer 2 is, yeah. Anyways, you get the idea. So again, duplicate the layer again. And then this time we will go image, adjustments, and shadow and highlights. And just, wow, super bright. We are going to turn all this down. Highlights, I'm not really worried about. It's the shadows we're trying to bring out. And yes, we want to bring out the shadows, but not that bloody much. So as I'm adjusting these sliders, I'm only watching this terminator line. This is all I want. So I'm seeing it's still overexposed, and I'll just work the sliders until it's just nicely exposed. I do gotta admit though, working with this data from an SLR camera is actually much harder to work with. Bring that back up a bit. And that's all it is. Like when I'm doing processing like this, I'll just throw music on and just get lost in the image, just doing little adjustments and being picky with it. And alright, we'll go with that. And then we want to make a layer mask again. So if you hold Option click and click layer mask, it gives you a hide all mask again. And then hit B to bring back our brush. We'll hit X to make it white. And just paint it back in here. And then I'm just doing single strokes and let it load. And then I can also brighten up slightly this lighter region. Being only a 30% mask, or 30% opacity brush, I mean. It's not going to overdo it right away. Try to brighten up all these craters. This is looking pretty good. And again, anytime you do a mask, you always want to feather them, just to get rid of those hard edges. I'm using a feathered brush. I believe I was doing 30 as well. That tends to be the brush I use when painting, is 30, 30, 30. It's a good number. So there we go, feathered that a bit. And then we do another layer, Command Option Shift E, another layer of everything. And then here we want to do our final noise removal. So you can go Filter, Noise, and use Photoshop's Reduce Noise feature. I myself don't use Photoshop's Reduce Noise. I am just going to do it here quickly. So it's pretty simple. You just adjust the strength, you try to preserve your details, and as for reducing color noise, there's no real color on the moon. There is, but it's not much, and you can sharpen your details. It doesn't do that good of a job. So if it's all you got, then use it. I use Topaz Labs. It's a third-party plugin for Photoshop. It's an amazing plugin. It has these are all different types of plugins that you can get. Denoise, Topaz Denoise 5. It's awesome. Another one that's really good is called Noise Ninja. I believe that's what this is, but I'm running in 32-bit mode right now, or something like that, so I can't use it. But Topaz Labs, their denoise is just insane awesome. So I'll just use Topaz here. They even have the one plugin, it's for sharpening as well, and it does really great for this stuff as well, but I'm not going to be using it because not everybody has it. Let's give it a sec here. It's doing the processing, and I moved it, so it's going to have to do it again. My bad. It normally starts off with 0, but I just finished using it, doing a quick run through of this data before, so just let it do its thing. And I think 18 is going to be way too much. I should say 0.18 is way too much. But you can see how it turns it like glass. It's very, very cool. Bring it down to a 10. Not bad. Try to bring it up a bit more. 13. You gotta have patience with it. It's like anything with a computer. You just gotta have patience with it and let it load, and kind of sucks, but alright, we'll go with that and see what we get. I think that looks pretty good. And there we have it. It actually looks really good. That was really loud, sorry. So here's our final image. We got a nice sharp shadow running down the edge of the Terminator. Lots of contrast in it, lots of different colors. So if I go over here, this is what we started with, and this is what we got now. Yeah, that's me. That's a pretty big ass enhancement that we got. So now let's say you want to take it one step further. This is something that I have just recently figured out. A lot of people, they try to capture what's called earth shine, and that's basically when you have a crescent moon, the earth actually reflects sunlight and it lights up the shaded side of the moon. And if you ever look at the moon through binoculars, you can actually see that shaded side of the moon. And trying to actually just capture that with an SLR is actually pretty hard. Even with dedicated equipment, it's a pain in the ass. I've still yet to figure out how to do it. But I did find out a little cheat that we can do. And that is, we will go and take our full moon data and we just blend it in as a shadow. So I'll just do that quickly here. 25th. Now the full moon, the moon itself, it has a kind of a wonky wobble, and it does rotate back and forth. So when you try to overlay a full moon image with a crescent moon, you'll find that it's just way out and it's totally different. And it's actually pretty amazing how much it moves. So we'll just take this one here, auto stacker and reg. That way it's already sharpened. We don't have to go through it. Looks good to me. I'll just copy it and bring it into our image and paste it in here. Let's go difference. That way we can try to line crap up here. And what do we got? Holy shit, is that way... wait. Alright. I gotta zoom out a bit. That's quite the difference. No. Just want to rotate. There we go. No! This program is just being so slow right now because of the screen capture. Alright. This could take a while. Where the hell are we again? There you are. Okay, you know what? Instead of you watching me screw with this for hours, I'm pausing the video and I'm gonna line it up the best I can. This is just being a little too glitchy with the screen capture going on. Okay, so I got them lined up as close as I can get. Like I said, it moves all over the place. It has a kind of a weird wobble. So this is what I got. You can see it is way off down here, but what I'm basically trying to do is align this shadow line, which is going to be my shadow. So anything that dark is, I'm ignoring it, but I just want to get this as close as possible to the sphere of the moon, the circle of the moon. So if I turn this back to normal now, you can see like that is just way out. Doesn't even look the same. It's pretty crazy how a little bit of sunlight casts, like, look down here. It just looks like there's no contrast. And this is another thing I've been saying. The moon has no contrast when it's full. It totally looks like a different region, but this is actually lined up. What I tend to use to line up is this here and this here. This is called the Bay of Rainbows. And if you do catch it right, like what I caught here, you get this really cool hook that looks like on the surface of the moon. It looks really cool through a telescope as well. And it's just basically the tips of these mountains getting caught with sunlight. So here we are, we got them slightly lined up. And then this part, you're just going to be like, holy. Take your opacity, bring it right down to 0. And then just slowly bring it up. And you will see the shaded side of the moon start to come in. And now it's not going to be fully bright either, right? It's the shaded side. It's going to be slightly darker, so you want to keep your opacity down. And this is another reason why I wasn't really concerned about getting it sharp or anything, because it's in the shadow. We got 26. Let's go with 29. And then I'm also going to do a mask just to cover up the rest of the full moon that's coming through our data here. So we'll just create a mask, go with our brush, and we want a black brush. And if anything, I'll dial it up. 100. Just go bigger. There. And like I said, feather it. Always feather. Nothing in nature is perfect. And there you have it. Now, if you ask me, that was one badass looking full moon image shot with an SLR camera. You got the shaded side, you got the light side, you got contrast. Looks pretty damn good to me. So, Command Option Shift E gives us our final image. You can zoom in on it, see how everything looks. One thing you'll notice I didn't do is take the noise out of the shaded part. And just because we were only blending a little bit into it, we're blending the luminance through this already denoised image, there's no need for it. So it looks pretty good. Now, all that really needs is a nice scene to put it in. I don't really have a nice scene to put it in. I did take this stupid image during the full moon. It's just a little bit of trees and some sky. And we'll put the moon in behind these trees. And you're thinking, wow, that's going to be a lot to have to mask out all these trees. So I am going to show you a cool ass trick on how to do that. Where are we? There it is. Just copy this layer. We'll paste it into here. And oh, look at that. We can go lighten. Or no, not lighten. bear with me here. Sorry, because it's a lit sky, I can't go with the lighten blending mode. Because normally you can do like a lighten and it'll just take the black out of the image. Try. I think I will have to make a layer mask. Which isn't that hard, it's a circle, right? So, we'll take our magic wand. Actually, no. Yeah, we'll use the magic wand. Tolerance 21, anti-alias, contiguous, shapoopy, and create a layer mask. Invert that layer mask, and feather that layer mask. I don't like that black edge it's doing, so we'll just adjust our mask edge. Just shift our edge in. Alright, now we can feather our mask. And it should feather into the... Damn it. Huh? Okay, we'll go with that. Go B. And get rid of... I said B. There we go. Just get rid of this line here, this line here, this annoying line here, and the one that's up here that we don't see. There we go. Now we got our moon. Oh. Oh, this screen capture is just such a pain in the ass, slowing things down. B. There we go. Like, look at that leg. Terrible. Alright. Now our move cursor. So now how to get this bloody moon behind all these trees. Well, if you don't already know this trick, you're going to be like, wow, this is awesome. Once I first learned it, I thought, holy shit. So these two sliders down here called blend if, they are just too cool. Very powerful tools. So this is pretty much saying blend if this top layer is this shade of gray. So as we adjust this slider, it's going to match up to the one, look at the layer underneath, and say, okay, if it's this shade of gray, I'm going to blend it. If it's this shade of gray, I'm not going to blend it. And you get that. But we want that underlayer to come through to our top layer. So we're going to blend if the underlaying layer is, how did it work? Is this the one we wanted? Maybe, maybe not. No, other way. As you can see what it's doing already. Alright, so we're going to bring in our underlaying layer. So you adjust the slider. Wait 20 bloody minutes for this thing to load. You're very impatient with this. And you'll see the branches start to come through here. And then once you get most of the branches, if you hold Option and you click the side of the arrow, you'll split it up and this will do the feathering, basically. The feathering of the blending. Might have to pull this back a bit, yeah. And there you go. And just like that, didn't even need to make a mask. We can make our moon go behind the trees. And if you really wanted to use keyframes, you can make it come up and move and animate it, do whatever you want. So it's just a matter of taste, what you want to do with it, where you want to put it. I think I'm gonna rotate it. And I really don't want to hide it too much behind the trees. We went through all that work to get the sharpening through. And really, this kind of looks ridiculous being the size, so we'll scale it down a bit. Let's set it up in the tree here. And there you have it. Nice full moon, shot with an SLR camera, blended into a background, and that's about all there is to it. If you want to, I don't know, maybe add some glow to it, you could always try to do that. We'll just create a gradient. And there you go. That bloody simple. Now it actually looks like a moon glowing up in the trees during an evening, during the night. So once you're pretty much done your image, there's only one final thing left to do. And that is, where is it? This one. There we go. And that is, always sign your work. You go through a lot of effort. You should always sign your work. And there you go. So hope you learned something. Give it a try. Like I said, with Photoshop, it's just a matter of playing with it. And it is a very amazing program. And that's about all there is to shooting the moon. Thanks for watching.